Sir Keir Starmer has ordered Labour MPs to abstain from the Commons vote on coronavirus restrictions in a worrying move for Boris. As England is preparing to come out of its second national lockdown on Wednesday, MPs are expected to vote on the tiered approach outlined by Mr Johnson and Health Secretary Matt Hancock last week. More than 99% of the country will be in the two highest tiers. But now, Sir Keir Starmer, leader of the opposition party, have revealed they will be abstaining from Tuesday's Commons vote. He said, "Coronavirus remains a serious threat to the public's health, and that's why Labour accept the need for continued restrictions. We will always act in the national interest, so we will not vote against these restrictions in Parliament tomorrow. However, I remain deeply concerned that Boris Johnson's government has failed to use this latest lockdown to put a credible health and economic plan in place. We still don't have a functioning testing system. Public health messaging is confused, and businesses across the country are crying out for more effective economic support to get them through the winter months. It is short-term government incompetence that is causing long-term damage to the British economy. It is imperative that the government gets control of the virus so that our NHS can be protected and our economy recovers faster. While this does mean tomorrow's vote on the new tier system will be approved, the government cannot count on Labour's support from now on. The new tier system has been widely criticised by MPs and members of the public, with many claiming they are now in a higher tier than before the lockdown started 4 weeks ago. In a lengthy letter to MPs, the Prime Minister outlined his COVID-19 winter plan while the country awaits for the vaccine to be deployed, and there will be a sunset period for the tiered system in February. Mr Johnson said, "These regulations will therefore have a sunset of the 3rd of February, and the government will again need to secure Parliament's support before then, in order for the tiered approach to remain in place until the end of March, as we believe will be necessary to control the virus through winter," he added. The previous tiered system had an impact on viral transmission, but SAGE advised that stronger measures would be needed to prevent the epidemic from growing. The analysis shows that in general Tier 1 measures were not able to stop the growth of the virus. Tier 2 managed to slow but not reverse the pace of growth, and Tier 3 managed to get cases falling in most, but not all, areas. Regions will also be reviewed on the positivity rate and the pressure on the NHS. Mr Johnson announced he will be charging a cabinet committee on the 17th of December which will take the final decision on the tier allocations. This comes as Mr Johnson is facing a Tory rebellion as MPs remain furious about the introduction of a tier system which in effect maintains lockdown, even for parts of England with low infection rates. A letter by the COVID Recovery Group, CRG, signed by 70 MPs last week underlined significant opposition to the tiers, and more MPs had joined the rebellion by this weekend. Sir Graham Brady, chair of the 1922 committee which represents the Conservative Parliamentary Party, made it clear he will not back the government. He said, "These regional tiers should be revised and applied on a more local district or borough basis, to make sure there's some connection between infection rates and restrictions of people's lives." Esther McVeigh, the founder of the blue-collar conservatism movement, pointed to a study by Bristol University which estimates that 560,000 people will be killed by lockdown measures. The MP for Tatton said, "We have to ask ourselves if the cure is worse than the disease. Under the new tiered system, much of the hospitality industry will not be able to open in Tier 3 or will be extremely limited in Tier 2. London boroughs have been placed in Tier 2 despite some areas having higher rates compared to other regions in the country, according to the latest government figures. Places like Greater Manchester and Lancashire will have the harshest tier imposed from the 2nd of December despite their R rate being lower than the capital.